They got you sucking on the tip of the battlefield. You lost your faith, bowing down to the dollar bill. You're that same. They got you sucking on the tip of the battlefield. You lost your faith, bowing down to the dollar bill. You're that same. Sees the sucking on the back of it. We choose our fate. Say no to the government. Let's break these chains. Sees the sucking of the battlement. We shall escape. Refuse the government. Take back the plane. They got you sucking on the tip of the battlefield. You lost your faith, bowing down to the dollar bill.
All right, I guess we're open. Open for auto hoax accelerationism. That is our business here. That is Warriors of the Plain, cease the sucking. Today is 7/16/2024, the anniversary of Eyes Wide Shut being released. The anniversary of JFK Jr. dying. Because Kennedys tend to die on Kubrick release dates. Look back to the screening of Dr. Strangelove and 11/22. This JFK thing. These connections are endless. 7/16/2024, 3 days after the ear shot on Donald Trump, got his ear pierced by an AR-15. People are still looking at this as a conspiracy within a conspiracy, inside job, negligence, DEI. There's a million different explanations for it, very similar to the JFK assassination, which spawned a myriad of conspiracy theories, and none of them confront the central fact that it was faked. If anybody shot Kennedy, it was Kubrick, and it was with a camera. It wasn't even Zapruder. In fact, Kubrick shot pretty much most of the major psyops we have been living through, from 9/11 to COVID to even now. This whole entire head wound thing was telegraphed by Kubrick. We were looking at the right side of Trump's head for a very specific reason, and all of it is contained within Kubrick's body of predictive programming, and many others. I mean, James Cameron, and more recently, we've just been looking at concurrent examples. I mean, a lot of people have remarked on some of the things that I've pointed out. For example, the Robert De Niro connection is huge. The fact that Robert De Niro was playing a xenophobic senator in 2010's Machete, and this role was forecasting Trump as president. So before Trump ever got political, Robert De Niro was playing Trump, or future Trump from 14 years in the future. And in that scene in Machete, where De Niro's character is shot at the podium and then rushed off the stage, that speech was a xenophobic speech. And just as we mentioned yesterday and the day before, Trump was talking about 20 million plus illegal aliens as a problem when he was shot at. And we have many more recent examples. The Captain America thing is huge. Harrison Ford in a theater like Ford Theater, that's big. And the fact that it came out on the same day, he's got the birthday of 7/13, which is Julius Caesar's birthday, which connects to the play Julius Caesar in Central Park in 2016, where they killed Trump as Julius Caesar. I mean, these connections are layered, but these are not eerie coincidences. This is not anomalous. What we're looking at is the standard operating procedure that nobody noticed before, or they noticed it in bits and pieces. But we established the big picture perspective here, and you can only have this perspective by recognizing that it's all one unified whole. Entertainment media, news media, and the political psyopera. They all share the same backstage. There's no meaningful distinctions to be made between news, entertainment, Hollywood. All right, let me see who's here. Green Smoke, Diana South, Mom with Sons, P. Trippa, Blood Raven. Oh, P. Trippa called in. I was on the Fakeologist show with Lynn, and we were speaking about this event and how many people are calling it staged. A lot of people think so, but their understanding or their use of the word staged is too limited to really grasp it because they're saying it's staged as in maybe Trump staged it for sympathy votes. But others run into the problem with, well, if it was staged, then did people really die? Did they kill the shooter? And so, people don't go far enough to really understand that for this to have been staged, it'd be a bipartisan operation. Even though the lower level politicos are fighting each other, at the very top, they're in agreement that this is a psyop that they are performing against the people. Like January 6th. January 6th was not the feds instigating something to get the right into trouble. No, at the very top, it was left and right at the top deciding to run this hoax and then pass it off as real to the entirety of the world. There is no real left right at the very top. The capstone controls all. But January 6th also had a number of characters associated with it that we saw at this Trump event, like the QAnon hobo, the guy that looks like an aged John Denver, the JFK Jr. in a costume, if you believe the Q people. And he's up there behind Trump as though he expects it. He's not reacting. And he's wearing a shirt that has George Magazine, which was JFK Jr.'s magazine. And one of the headlines says, "Dodging Bullets." All right, we are joined here by Blood Raven, Messianic Charlatan, Diana South, Copacetic, Green Smoke says incited for some infotainment. Yep, this should be very conspirataining. These are conspirataining times. This was just the plot twist we needed. And many of you may feel underwhelmed, like it's anticlimactic. And that's because we were expecting it. So this is a spoiler alert. Like this whole program, IPR is Mind War Inoculation, which basically means spoiler alerts. You're not going to be triggered by any of their operations designed to get you to take sides in their info war. Start slinging info at the other side. 737 sounds like Skinny Puppy or Project Pitchfork. Yeah, that's a great track. I'll have to make videos for all these tracks. I have some ideas. Joined by Elephant Tusks. 737, Flozik. Blood Raven says, Tim, what is a second shooter from the water tower? Okay, those are called guardrails. In order to prevent people from reaching a conclusion that it's real or fake, like it might be staged, they provide alternative explanations for anybody questioning the official story. So second shooters are always rabbit trail distractions. And they always give you second shooters, they give you alternate explanations, false flags. There's a patsy. There are no patsies, they're actors. Was Lee Harvey Oswald a patsy? And was this really committed by someone else and then they shut him up by killing him? This is the story they give you. So these stories are meant to distract people from the facts of it. That we saw a squib, we saw a magic trick. And it was a magic trick. A hoax, a psyop. Nobody died, nobody cried. But, of course, as the public looks at this, this is completely believable to them because they don't account for special effects when they look at mainstream news events. And let me bring this up. How we're looking at some reversals here. Like for the right wing to call various shootings fake is very offensive. Alex Jones got sued for $1 trillion because of it. Well, the left is gleefully calling this staged and doubting whether it really happened. But anyway, look at this here. This is from Patriot Takes. And I find this is kind of a mirror. Because you know how after Kenosha, right-wingers were like, well, Kyle did a good thing. He shot some deplorable people. He shot a pedo, a strangler, a commie. Well, in this case, the left is saying the guy who got killed at the Trump rally joked about killing protesters and running over bicyclists. And it's true. Corey Comparator, the one who was shot, the fireman who was killed behind Trump, they went through his tweets. And he posted an image of global warming activists standing on ice with nooses around their necks. And then he posted a Babylon Bee article. Trump vows if elected he'll legalize running over bicyclists. And Corey says, deal. So they're dredging up this allegedly dead man's tweets. And they're like, well, this wasn't a loss. Good shot. He was probably a bad person anyway. So here they are again. This is the left justifying it, not to mention the downplaying. And this just happened. I don't know if this is a psyop or not, but I've been thinking, Steve Bannon's in jail. Trump's getting shot at and being politically persecuted. And I'm thinking maybe Rudy Giuliani is feeling a bit left out. So here's an article that just came out. Rudy Giuliani took a dramatic tumble as he fell into a row of empty chairs at the Republican National Convention on Tuesday evening. A chair broke his fall, and he gripped the seats around him before attendees rushed to his assistance. And so we have some pictures of Rudy Giuliani falling over these chairs. Not as dramatic as Trump getting shot at, but it has the right colors, red, white, blue, pretty dramatic. But I'm starting to think this is also a hoax. I'm thinking Rudy Giuliani falling is staged. And again, it's because he's feeling left out of the act. All his friends are being persecuted, shot at, arrested, and nobody cares about him. Okay, we have. Oh, by the way, let me go ahead and answer the phones. I have. If you want to call right back, I had to turn the ringer off because it's incredibly loud. Infinite Plane Radio. Hey,
Hey,
caller.
how we doing, Tim? It's TK Colin. How you doing?
Oh, hey, what's up? I saw your comment earlier. Appreciate it very much. And yes, we're always on top of this stuff. We are the cutting fringe.
For sure, for sure. That's the number one thing. One, I hate that I brought up when somebody calls in and they go, "How you doing, bud?" We know how we doing, right? I don't even know. Let me get out the basement real quick because now all of a sudden I'm fired up.
Awesome.
I mean, 2 seconds. Okay, so I heard you with Lynn and psychologist. Obviously, we had to get the intake. I didn't hear what you were talking about the stream previously. So if you just want to go ahead and
Sure.
let's, if you want to introduce, yeah, so I know where we're at, we can jump in from there.
Okay, well, we're basically assessing how the world is assessing this. And a lot of people are calling it staged. People are open to it being fake and it being a hoax, but they don't go that deep into the weeds with it. But I think it's interesting how the majority are not paying attention, and a lot of people are open to the possibility it was fake. There's just this general skepticism that I see, and it's not as focused and
Okay.
laser-like as ours, but I'm glad it's there.
Exactly.
What's been your take?
Yep. And so, well, right there. So it's almost like when we, and I say we not as a collective, like we're some freaks or anything. I'm saying we as people that kind of jumped in the game. We got jumped in years ago into this like fake, everything's bullshit game, right? And
Oh,
then
yeah.
you kind of get jumped in, and you can get jumped in, and you go. I guess we'll go full Robert Downey in Tropic Thunder, or you go, how deep into the full Simple Jack do you want to get? And now I feel like there's too many Simple Jacks and not enough people that have been, because right now there's a bunch of people that have been never stomped out, right? They've never even been smacked around with conspiracy
Yeah.
or noticed they've been lied to. So they like kind of get smacked one time and they're like, oh my God, everything. And that's not the way to look at this. If anything, my number one thing is I thought the guy that got killed, and I'm saying with no disrespect to the family, I'm not talking crazy like I have no sympathy for a man that if he did get killed. I'm wondering if he maybe in that town had saw a do you know what Heather I think her name was Heather from Poltergeist, the girl from Poltergeist. If we
Yes.
know how
Yes.
she passed away in Hollywood, say maybe he was at a place and saw something like that happening, and the person that got taken out, and this is no disrespect, and this is sounding completely crazy because this guy's been told nothing but a hero, but what if that person had saw something he wasn't supposed to, and the whole thing was that guy got taken? Like, and this was all not even the grazed ear. It could have been whatever you want to say, but who got was supposed to get got. Nobody's saying that.
I see what you're saying, and that could be the
You
guy was from BlackRock. He was in a BlackRock commercial, so he's been around their club. But
meaning
um, eh,
meaning
Greetings and welcome to my
young man,
channel.
or I'm talking about the civilian, the bystander.
oh,
Wasn't there a
the
bystander that was
bystander.
like
I see. I see.
the fire marshal or something in that town?
Yeah, I thought that was suspect as well. Like with 9/11,
That's what I'm trying to say.
okay, so they bring in a
Like,
fireman, and it's like, well, that taps into 9/11, the flag, the patriotism,
mhm.
and firemen are kind of heroes in these psyops. So I thought that was
Right, and
kind
I'm
of
saying,
intentional.
and I don't know the town that happened in, but say maybe that guy was running for city official, right? And he had might have seen some money laundering, or I don't know what gets banned off, because I don't want to demonetize your stuff, but maybe just saw something that was fishy in that town, and they're like, hey, we got a thing coming in. When he comes in, Daryl has to get taken out, and the whole thing was to get Daryl taken out. And by Daryl, I'm saying there was like a. Am I wrong? There was a like a or like a police chief or something that got hit in the
Look,
head, I guess,
that's
with it,
intrigue.
right?
I mean, there's certainly that is a level of intrigue that people will speculate on. My take on it, though, is that for something like this to succeed, it has to
Mm-hmm.
be a closed movie set. Everybody who's there, maybe not
For
the
sure.
audience, but it
For
has to
sure.
be closed. And one more thing too, because people say, well, why aren't they really killing people in these events? And my answer to that is non-disclosure agreements. If you're signing a non-disclosure agreement and somebody does something illegal, you're no longer bound to it.
Yeah, and haven't we found out about this? And I'm not trying to step on you there, but people that are familiar with your show, we know about the isn't there websites where you can even like go online and be like, yeah, I'll participate in a town-wide uh, drill, we'll say, like a
Oh
drill
yeah,
to
look,
see how a stress test. We can do a stress test around my neighborhood, and I'm fine with it. People are like that.
no, this is not even a secret anymore. Like they used to say, oh, crisis actors are conspiracy theory, but in this thing called Euro 2024, they had an event, and this was in Berlin, where they had 900 casualties, all simulated. Almost a
Hmm.
thousand people with fake injuries running around hospitals. So they can fake stuff at scale. They have the numbers, they have the people, the
Yeah,
personnel.
and if it's gonna cause what it would have caused, because okay, so and I'm sorry, whoever needs to call in, and more than likely going to try to not say sorry again, because that just sounds ridiculous every time a guy calls in. We There's a thing with. No, I lost my train of thought. Go ahead, jump on me for a
Sure,
second,
sure.
and
Uh,
wrangle it back in. Wrangle
okay,
it back
okay.
in.
One of the things you said something that was really good at the very front here about how you have a lot of people who haven't been jumped into the gang. They're not full-blown auto
Hmm.
hoaxers, and they're running into, wow, a lot of stuff is fake. They don't have the framework to put all the pieces together. And so it doesn't really help. And what I notice is I call them low information disbelievers. So they disbelieve without knowing why. It's just like reflexive, whereas we are informed about what we don't believe. And I think this is a problem because I see a lot of people sharing stuff like, oh, look, Donald Trump died in The Simpsons, predictive programming. Well, he never died in The Simpsons. That's fake
I was about to
predictive
say that
programming. And like, look, these people don't have the
exactly.
discernment that's needed to be skeptical media fakery experts like we are. And it's just going to be a matter of
Okay,
time. But yeah, you're on something with that.
and thank you for bringing me back, because that is also another point that I wanted to bring up, is that Simpsons thing. My buddy texts me, right? I've gotten plenty of stuff to where I work for a small company, and the guy goes, "Can you not wear your hoax?" I can't wear my shirt that says I bought it from it's your with the whole saying on the front of "If you don't believe in hoaxes, you ain't thinking." I can't remember the slogan.
Oh, yeah, if you aren't auto
I have
hoaxing,
it.
you aren't paying attention. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. So I can't wear that on the job site anymore. I can't wear my hoax one that I have with the globe and flat earth that I got from Dave Durst's website years ago. You know what I mean? Because I've turned them all kind of into work shirts, and I just cut the sleeves off and rock them. And sometimes I get things getting said, and sometimes I don't. And the guy this year goes like this: "Can you not wear your shirts that?" And he's like, "You don't wear band shirts, and kind of don't wear conspiracy shirts." without saying conspiracy. And this right on Friday, before this weekend even happened. And I thought it was crazy. At the same time, I didn't think it was that crazy because I wore a Suicide Boys shirt that was a little hard. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is the people that do, because he sees, he goes, that's, amen. I've talked to him now the last 2 days. Fake. Oh, that is crazy. It's like a movie set. But 2 years ago, if even, you bring up a movie set and that people are or NPC or anti-war, all that stuff, you were considered complete. This guy wore a mask 2 years ago. This same man has got mad at me when we started back working again in public, and he wore a bandana. He's like, well, at least I'm just wearing a bandana. I'm not wearing a mask. I don't look like a jerk. And I'm like, buddy, just why are you? I go, I don't think it works like that. And it was like, go home today. Go home for saying something like that. And now you have these people being pro-Trump, but being pro-conspiracy, like being like, okay, there is something weird here. So now we have this mishmash of following the guardrails. They're playing, they're bowling. Now they're finally ready to bowl, but they have the guardrails up, right?
Right. So when they do
And they know the
spontaneously figure it
guardrails are
out,
there.
yeah, it's amazing because you can see this progression where people are realizing things because people are smart, even if the media tricks them. It's not because of a lack of intelligence. It's a naivety about what media is. And when they do figure it out, they immediately rush for the answers, and the ones providing the answers steer them back into conspiracies that don't upset the paradigm. Like Alex Jones, conspiracies are world stage
Mm-hmm.
approved, and auto hoaxing, media fakery analysis is
It's
not
not
approved.
approved yet.
Not approved.
But is this one kind of seeming like the auto hoax is almost, are they trying to normalize auto hoaxing now? Because that's all I've noticed is like people immediately almost jumped into what I said with the person that died. Because I was at the sports bar up the road, and when it happened, I go, well, a person died, and I go, did anybody think that the person that was supposed to die was supposed to die? Because, like I said, the same scenario I kind of brought up right away, but at the time I just was able to express myself better. And but everybody, when I see this many people jump one way, I then tend to get wonder. And I'm wondering, because you know what I mean? Like after COVID or after the siege or whatever we want to call it. I
Sure,
don't know if
sure.
you've
I
seen
know
it,
what you mean.
but
I know what you mean.
well, once they started to come this way, it was like this. Wait, what? Okay, now if you guys are all here, that means everybody is here. Once I started seeing a couple other people jump to where I'm already at, when I was called such crazy things 3 to 4 years ago, and now they're all kind of like hitching on the bandwagon, but nobody wants to say, Tommy said this or nobody wants to say that. Nobody will say that, but they're all veering this way, and they're all patting the guy on the back, almost like, yeah, hey, we're all here. And I'm like this, wait, I kind of like want to put my hands up and slowly like walk backwards and be like, something's up. If we're all
Yes,
here,
yes. I think they're trying to.
we're all here.
I think what they're doing is they're trying to co-op. So what they want to do is they want to expand the borders of Trutherville to encompass auto hoaxers and the people calling it fake. They're trying to merge the two
Yeah,
so they can dilute our messaging. Meanwhile, I'm saying we got to quarantine. We got to break away from all of that.
for sure.
And so there are big channels like someone mentioned Amazing Polly, big channel. She thinks the shooting was real.
Is,
Anybody who says
is
it's
she still
real,
there? So she's still in the game. And
she's back.
but she's still the Canadian woman. Is her videos on BitChute, I'm assuming, then, or
Yep.
something? Because I just don't see them on my stream.
Hey,
I was subscribed to her. She was good for a bit there. I mean,
she
she
was,
seemed.
but she doesn't have the right framework to understand what she's
What
saying.
makes
If
you
she's
think? Is it the? What do you think? Because I saw the first thing I saw that went, because immediately I obviously was like that. Boom, boom. I kept my Saturday going. I was like, this is nuts. Too many people are talking. I was literally in public when that happened. And I go, and I just kind of walked away. Ended up having a bonfire, fish fry night. And then it was like you wake up Saturday or Sunday with the little hangover, you talk about it, then Monday was Monday. Now, if you're telling me, so you're saying everybody's on the conspiracy side. I might have lost my what I was trying to say again, but
Well, listen to this. Messianic
they're
Charlatan has a
not.
quote
Yeah,
here.
go ahead.
This is a quote that
Okay.
Mark Twain said, but you kind of reiterated it.
Okay.
Quote, when you find yourself on the side of the majority, it's time to pause and reflect. And if the majority of
For sure.
Trutherville is reacting the same way, somebody's pulling the strings somewhere. It's not organic. And so I'm very skeptical of anything I'm getting from any of these big channels. And these days, anybody,
Especially,
yeah, we have to be cautious at
go
this
ahead.
point, skeptical.
Because we were the losers, dude. I've been the freak of nature for over 10 years. I've been expelled from everything. I've lost uh, a lot, like people, friends, opportunities where maybe I could have just worked with people and it just got spun the wrong way, even with the early Trump stuff. And me being the way I look, and just even being pro-Trump and the BLM stuff was happening, I was like, dog, that's something wrong. You know what I mean? And I've lost so much to now see all these people coming over to the other side
Now that it's safe,
and just
yeah, I that's the
almost being, yeah,
yes. Now that it's
something's
safe.
blatantly up. They've blatantly done something to the conspiracy, to like true conspiracy. They're like found like, oh man, this is a now it's almost like buying your clothes from like a personal dude or like a low key gun, and you're getting your clothes like, dang, ain't nobody dressing like this, ain't nobody got this stuff, and all of a sudden they got their stores, and when a starter went to Walmart or Reebok went to Walmart, now it's like, because this is a Walmart, and I ain't rocking no shit from Walmart. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
yeah.
like
That's
that, dude.
this is a co-opt, and someone points out here, and this was like in the last 6 months, we've had Joe Rogan auto hoaxing nukes,
Mm-hmm.
Candace Owens bringing up Jack Parsons and the satanic rituals that preceded the advent of NASA's rollout. So we're having
See,
like
but
big channels talking about this stuff to co-opt it.
I mean, but hasn't Candace been talking like that though? Like, I feel like or should there? And I'm not gonna ever be like, oh my gosh, Tim told me to be weary of Candace, so now I'm gonna. But I don't mind listening to that woman spit her little info.
No, I think
You know what
she's
I mean?
great. I think
If she kind of misses,
she's
she
good.
seems like she's on the. Yeah, she ain't the worst
No,
for
she's
being as
good, but
big as that channel is. Yeah,
no, she is.
Joe Rogan's definitely a goofball.
Yeah, Joe Rogan's a goofball. Candace
Yeah.
Owens is formidable. She's very intelligent. She's very sharp. I just don't believe she believes any of the stuff she says. I think her conversion to Catholicism
You
was
know what?
fake. No, I think she's I think she's an
She's
intellectual.
Barack Obama me.
Yeah, she's
She's
an intel.
Barack Obama me. She can speak well. So
No, what I mean
I
is,
was like, walk around.
no, what
Let's
I
talk
mean
to me.
is that her argumentation.
Yeah.
She argues perfectly all of the conservative talking points, all of the far right talking points. But when you look at her,
She
and
definitely did.
but the
Yeah.
thing is, they put her on the Daily Wire so she could say things that, if said by a white male, would be called sexist and racist. So I'm saying she's
For
an intellectual.
everything.
She's
Yeah.
an intellectual prostitute.
Yeah. She maxed out. Well, that's the same type of thing because I get the. I guess what am I? I'm not pleading for Candace Owens and her energy, but I get that type of shit from people, and I don't know if that's maybe why I like her vibe, is because like being where I'm from, surrounded by everybody I am, and looking the way I look, and kind of being the first person talked kind of like that, and being told honky or all. I mean, I've heard crazy shit. Now all of a sudden, TK's views are, oh man, I can't
A
believe,
lot
it's
of
like
these,
what?
a lot
I
of
was
these.
I was coloring up a palm like 9 months ago, right, by everybody, and now all of a sudden it's like, dog, you might have been sued. Is the world flat? Is it? It's like, why don't talk unless you're being serious? Don't ask me these questions because I've already forgotten half the stuff that I was trying to talk to my real friends about that now ran away when they were calling me just the craziest things that I'm like, damn, dude, you guys are talking nuts. Biden, like it just was nuts. I was hearing completely crazy stuff before, like right before the COVID stuff, during the COVID stuff, and after. And then it was like when the COVID mask thing took that pinnacle of everybody, it was like, this is getting too far. Then they started creeping over and being like, hey man, it's you got the one or two buddies that say you might be right.
I think what you're drawing
And then
attention
that was
to,
Israel.
I call this a TikTokification of the discourse. So, for example, we've been deep in the
Okay.
weeds for years, deep into understanding why we call it a hoax, what's fake, why we assert
Hmm.
NASA's lying. And these are like long discussions, long into the night. We put a lot of work and effort into aggregating all this information and
Hmm.
making sense of it. And now you have people coming along making 30-second videos and getting a
Hmm.
hundred times, 1,000
Yes.
times more hits than we could ever get. But they're taking the information out of context,
Perfect
effectively
analogy.
neutralizing it. This is
Yep.
Brave New World, the sea of irrelevance. That's why I emphasize the raft. We're in a raft, penguins in a group, they float together as a raft because everyone else is submerged in the sea of irrelevance. They can't put the picture together even though they have all the right answers in front of them. And
No,
we
now I
have them.
remember.
Go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, what I was gonna say. Now I remember what I was gonna say is So I met and this is gonna be a little bit of a story. I don't know if chat's all like this. Get this guy off the phone. But the analogy of I met my cousin's wife when she was still a fiance or whatever. She came over to our house. We grilled, and Watchmen, the movie Watchmen, was coming out in the theater. And at the time, I worked at a call center, so I could read a book and whatever. And I was always into more crazier, darker, whatever subjects. And at the time, I was like, get a book to read when you're on the job, because I worked for Swanson Health Products. And in between calls or whatever, you could had a chance to kick back. And I was like, God, I don't know what to read. So I read a lot of Clive Barker and a lot of Clive Barker and Richard Lehman. But I ended up reading Watchmen before the movie had came out, and I read the book, and I remember falling in love with the Dr. Manhattan scene and literally reading it personally, right? And my cousin came over with his wife, our fiance. We were talking about how pumped we were for the movie, and we were talking about he liked whatever scene or whatever part of the comic, and I was like, oh, this part's neat. And she fakely, not fakely, it was a shitty word, but like made it be like, oh yeah, but like, yeah, that was cool, wasn't it cool? Like some main parts that anybody would know if they just heard of the story, right? And then when they got married, I was a groomsman in the wedding, and she then tells me she had never read that book. In that conversation, she felt guilty for like just trying to hang out with and meet me, being his older cousin, and just to hang out. She just like was like, I actually had never read that book at the time. I just didn't want to feel like a dork, right? So with these conspiracies and stuff, it's almost like we have a lot more of that. Like people are like, oh yeah, conspiracy that, but they ain't got the
Yeah, I got the term.
ain't nobody even
The
bought.
term is
You know what I mean?
low info disbelievers. So here's a distinction. We are informed disbelievers. We know the intricacies of the stories and we reject them. The low information types say, "Oh, that looks fake. I agree." And so their fakery, their calling out a fake isn't as good. And that's a very important distinction. Like there are people who say pandas are fake, and they can't explain why. It's a
Yeah,
simple, I just don't believe in
yeah,
them. It's hard for me. My
yeah. I've
gut
seen
says
that
no.
crazy video.
Meanwhile, we're like, here's
Yeah,
50 reasons why the space station is a hoax, and we can list them down to a detail. We know
yeah,
more about the things the believers believe in than they do, and we have reason to disbelieve these things. So we have to differentiate between
yeah.
low info disbelievers and low info believers. It's far different from what we do here.
And then what are we doing with the physical copies of things? Are we is like me, I very much care about my physical books. Like every book that I've been buying every book that you've published. So, tell you the truth, with your last book, and I'm not being disingenuous, do you not use AI at all, Tim? Is them really your words the whole book?
Yes, yes, I do not use
And you
AI.
don't want to confess it on air.
I use
You
Grammarly.
don't?
I
You
use
swear?
Grammarly as a spell checker, but no, I don't use AI.
Okay.
But
No,
um,
then. Okay. And I just had to ask it because I went like this. This guy, because I read the 101, the Auto Hoax 101, and I was reading and I go, that's when, that's how, is it paranoid? would that be the word that I'm trying to describe of when I'm reading something that I've trust you, right? But then I'm like this, is this guy, wait, am I getting played?
Right, right. No,
Auto Hooks 101, I
Auto
did.
Hooks
And
101
I did.
is it is IPS's, it is this channel's magnum opus. It reflects all of our best
Yes.
thinking for their 6 or 7 years. So it's not just me. This is a lot of research, and we don't just pull our information and throw it into a single thread, but we're actually
Well,
fine
and
tuning our
brother,
arguments. And so this is
I've
a
been there the
collective.
whole time.
Yeah, you're a part of
Just so
it.
you know that.
Everybody
Yeah,
here
I've been there the whole time.
is actually
So I was
part of.
reading it, and I was,
Yep.
yeah.
Well, you're
I
part of
just
it.
read it, and I was like this. I go, is this? I go, he wrote that. It was weird. I honestly did question for a bit, not like a long time period or something, like for like, oh fuck Tim, or it wasn't like that, but it was like this. I go, damn, these books are good, because I even have that I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know the cover is a black and white cover with like a missile on the cover. It's one of your older, a couple of year ago books.
Oh yeah, yeah. Secret Religion of the Elite.
And I read that, and I was like, God, this guy's good. And then it was just something, and I just want to be honest. I did for a second. I go, is he using the AI for this? And now I brought it up and asked. You shot it out there like that. I can only, and Grammarly makes sense. Good Lord, that's not way different than what I'm trying to say. Like,
Oh
I was
yeah.
like this. Am I reading his legit, like, sat down for a bit and wrote this stuff? Because that's impressive.
Well,
It's impressive
thank you.
what you have brought to the table and committed to.
This book is going to be the core of the parallel media. That's why I put this together. And a lot of this stuff was written, not me like at the desk, but rather we're in these multi-hour, sometimes heated debates
Yeah.
in Discord. And if I find some talking point, some specific point that's been made, a good argument, I will save it. And so these arguments, these perspectives have all been in a way molded and forged in the
Now that
I,
you say it like that, no, okay, that's when it
yeah,
makes
they've been
sense.
forged in
Yeah, because
the
reading it, I was
crucible.
like, yep, it makes sense on what you're saying. Because I've read every book of yours, and only about, of all the books I've bought, I've only read technically, besides for like how you can look through like a thesaurus or like an encyclopedia. I've bought a couple of the like Jordan Maxwell's or even the Manly P. Hall's Secret Teeth. I've never fully sat down and read it, but I've like found the seventh sign of Symbolus or whatever, and I'll just quickly go to that section of the book, check it out to be like, oh gosh, is this whatever I see in a movie, or see whatever to decode it, or whatever. So I'll do a lot of my books I'll treat like that, but your stuff I jump in and I knock them down, and I don't know. I just had to say it. And I feel like I'm repeating myself, but
Well, look, I'm going to be doing this tour. This Autohoaxology 101 is meant to be distributed in person. So my next phase,
Mhm.
the next step of the IPS, is for me to go to city by city and organizing local discussions, debates, cyber symposiums where I invite guests, I invite critics, opposition, all in one room.
for sure.
It will be recorded, but this book is going to be handed out in person. And my objective is to get, and it sounds high, 10,000 copies out
Mhm.
in 2024. And I know I can do it once I get a
Yep.
media push behind it, once I get this ball rolling.
For sure. And right now, if anything, you have this is the time to strike, because you have not the word layman in looking into it, but you have more of the conspiracy is popped somehow. I don't know how it happened. I don't know if I'm part of the group of people that are MK Ultra or whatever you want to say, to like fall for this, right? If it's like, you know what I mean? Because I fall into that a little bit, to where I'm like this: am I getting played by even questioning this? You know what I mean? Like the whole psyop agenda. Like,
Sure.
I wonder if is the conspiracy even questioning them? Are you falling for the hoax right there?
I know what
So
you're
then you got
saying.
to
Yeah,
take 2 steps back. You got, yeah.
this is good. This is good because I fell into it where I believed everything, and I believed the extra stuff. So like the news is terrible, but it's worse because there's reptilians and Illuminati and death rays from space
Yeah.
guns, and so we get pulled into a false paradigm to distract us from the truth when we question the mainstream. And so what we are those who have stepped back from that. And what we're at now with skepticism is actually purer in terms of perception and logic and reason. So the mainstream mind is duped. It's programmed. We are in the
Mhm.
stage of being deprogrammed. And so it's natural to look around and make
Right.
sure, I hope this isn't another trap. I hope this isn't some kind of a box. But no, Truther Town is a trap. Woke Town is a trap. But Off World
For sure.
Stage, to me, this is deprogrammed. This is an area
It's
outside of that.
it's to me, yeah, because it's you look at it and you go, well, because it's easy to go into not auto hoaxing, but it's easy to because now, like with all this right here with this Trump stuff, everyone's saying it's a conspiracy. They have who couldn't see the dude coming up the thing. He doesn't have a Facebook. Uh, the CIA or whatever the sniper whole all the agendas that they're saying, and we're hearing that straight on MSNBC, and the people that then look at it's just it's wild. I'm gonna have to jump off
Okay,
because I
well,
feel
I
like I'm
appreciate
getting
your
so
call. Great
loopy and
points.
everything.
I can definitely bounce off that.
But
What you're realizing here
yeah,
is that the conspiracy realm of discourse is actually part of mainstream. It's the controlled
yeah,
opposition. So they promote it. They created it, they promote it, they shoot it down. And we are outside of that because I'm not going to be a fall guy. I'm not going to be a dupe. I'm not going to be following any Pied Pipers that secretly work for the media elite in order to take the fall. We're not the controlled opposition. We're the uncontrolled opposition.
can I ask you one thing about how you watch so with entertainment, right? Because I'm assuming there's some time that you have where you want to maybe watch whatever the new Nicolas Cage movie, right? Where you just want to kick back and watch a movie and just watch it, right? And you're gonna watch it and decode whatever mainstream little narrative they pull, or like, have you seen the commercial for the new Call of Duty game?
Uh,
That's during the Bush event. The Bush. I want to say the preview looked like it was on like the Bush timeline or something.
what was in
And
that
how
one?
they're
Someone had me play it one day. Is it? But the new Call of Duty trailer. I think,
yeah,
yeah. What
it's
was
crazy, man.
Truth Lies? Right? Truth
It's
Lies.
yeah, and it's like shows the first George Bush's during his presidency, and it blatantly is like you and I are the frickin' Call of Duty guys, and we saw everything. The commercial, if you watch it with the eyes that we got, it's like this. Why are they talking right? It's like blatantly. And my buddy doesn't see it like that. He's like, "No, this just looks cool. Those are cool action." And I go, "They're
Ah,
telling you
okay.
everything."
Here's why. Because your buddy's programmed, you're deprogrammed. And there's three groups of people in the world:
Yeah.
the programmed, the deprogrammed, and the programmers. So you're reading this, you're seeing this as a programmer. Because we have the programmer's perspective. When you're deprogrammed, you have the programmer's perspective. So it's different from how the
Mm-hmm.
programmed take it. So it's interesting that when you see it, it's like, wow, who are they revealing this to? They're talking to each other. It's an inside reveal, but
For
we're in
sure.
on it. We're
For sure.
insiders to there. We're kind of in a way, I consider us to be insiders.
In the inside click.
Yep.
Yeah. And so now, where do you go? How deep do you look when you feel like are we getting teased by the insiders, right? Like, are they like, not, because I watched another thing and I go, there's no way that everybody doesn't see this. Or, I mean, you see the commercial or the TV show and you go, this is blatantly what's going on. Are we getting mocked then?
Okay, there are times where I
Or,
think that the IPS has been
mhm.
deliberately mocked. They've co-opted stuff from us
Yeah.
here and there. And why wouldn't they? If we're the cutting edge, if we're the cutting fringe, if we're
Yeah.
the ones who have figured out predictive programming, concurrent programming, news bending, of course they're going to come after us. And I think even in that Burning Man on 419, Maxwell Azarello, who set himself on fire outside the court trial,
Hmm.
his manifesto stole lines from Auto Hoaxology 101.
Straight up. straight
stole
up.
lines from me.
That's when I go that shit like that is where I'm like this is that's and I hate because I call that to my buddy. I'll say it like I go. I feel like I get schizo. Like I can talk to him like a normal dude, and I go, bro. Sometimes am I schizophrenic or something's going on? And then I gotta personally only walk myself back because you can't talk to fucking anybody about it. You can't bring it up. You bring it up and it just sounds dumber and dumber, or you sound like a kook,
Oh
right?
yes, yeah.
But then maybe,
Before the
yeah.
internet, I would run into walls. I would talk to someone, and then I'm the conspiracy guy. Now I'm the kook. It alienates you,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get gaslit because they tell you, no, what you perceive is wrong. You got to trust the TV screen. That's gaslighting. That's altering or trying to change your reality. So it was very counterproductive to talk to people. I advise people, don't talk to your friends about stuff that's going to alienate them. Know where they are. If they're in Normieland, talk to them from Normieland. If they're
Keep them there. Yeah,
and so
sure.
like we have enough people online in our think tanks that I get it all out of my system. So I can just go out there like
For
nothing's
sure.
on my mind and blend in. But hey, I got another caller coming in. This is Tommy King.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay,
Go ahead
thank
for
you,
sure, dude.
thank you
And
very
I
much, and call back
all right,
anytime.
man. Keep doing you.
All right,
Gotcha.
see,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
thank you.
Have a good rest.
Okay, caller, if you want to call right back, I just dropped you by accident. I believe you were the one in. I don't want to read your number online, but if you want to call right back, great caller. Appreciate you reading the book and appreciate the feedback. Autohoaxology 101 needs to be emphasized. And my whole objective here is to take this book out on the road, not necessarily a city to city book tour, but rather a planned series of events, not conferences, but more intimate events and more purposeful. Infinite Plane Radio.
Hey, Tim.
Hey, thank you for calling.
I just heard you mention that the Burning Man quoted you from your book.
Well, yeah, in his book, in his manifesto, he talked
Mm-hmm.
about those with, quote, truth colored lenses would see through the lies on both sides and, quote, bend history. And
Yeah.
the whole purpose of Autohoaxology 101 is describing how we're going to break away because we have the right perspective post world stage. And that specifically, I was talking about the movie Newsbenders, and I've made that a big part of what we talk about, this bending of history. And the phrase bending history, Newsbenders, was really central to what we were talking about. And then this guy's manifesto comes out and he uses these phrases. And I think it might be part of this bigger agenda to demonize conspiracy theorists. And he wasn't the
Yeah.
only one, but that's one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Newsbenders, that BBC production with was a Blofeld actor there, Donald Pleasance, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Now, yeah, that was fascinating, wasn't it? Okay. Did you ever stop to ask yourself why would this man who ended up burning himself, self-immolating, why would he quote you? Did you ever stop to think what the motive was?
Sure. Same thing with Justin Moan, who has this, I won't say uncanny, but if you were trying to template somebody off of me and create a conspiracy theorist about to start a revolution, you would choose this guy. Justin Moan comes out, a bunch of self-published books, and he shows a severed head on the screen, and then they have this big psyop about him. And I think what they're doing is they're trying to create a perception in the minds of the public that conspiracy theorists who are writing manifestos are dangerous to themselves, dangerous to society, their ideas are destructive. I think it's part of a ongoing operation. It used to be tinfoil hats, and now it's they set themselves on fire or they shoot places up. So it's part of this ongoing demonization
Yeah.
of the free thinker.
That's the idea. It's to be able to cast blame on the source material that he quoted, which is your material.
Exactly. Exactly. They
Right. So
want my book. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now on to something else. You were mentioning about concurrent programming in the case of Captain America: Brave New World. Remember?
Yes. Yes. The new
Sure.
trailer that just came out. Yeah.
Right. Another question about that. There's an obvious change in the complexion of Captain America this time around, right?
Let me take a look. Is Captain America who plays him now?
The thing is, there's a Steve Rogers figure, and then you have this Sam Wilson figure. And now, of course, the old Captain America was Caucasian, and the new one, of course, is not. Isn't that right?
Okay, I see that now. I see that now.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a big change. It's just now, is it to appease Black Lives Matter? I don't really care about that, frankly. But to me, the idea of Captain America being what his weapon is the shield, right? This
Correct.
thing is the shield. And now in the movie, right? I mean, he's got to protect the president from assassination, right? Someone's got to shield the president from assassination. We know that superheroes have these devices, but people themselves become shields. A Secret Service agent becomes the shield, right? Someone that throws himself in front of an assassin's bullet becomes the shield for the target, right?
Right.
So now, you're all over it, JL's all over it. A lot of people are all over this idea of an impending assassination. It's been marketed so well that it's an expectation at this point. People, whether they like it or not, they deep down inside are expecting another attempt, right?
It seems like they're setting the stage for it.
Yeah, it's so obvious that it can't be dismissed. And this hoax, didn't everyone stop to think why it was so obviously a hoax? And it's for the purpose of contrast. They're making these hoaxes look so incredibly obviously hoaxed that when the real thing happens, it'll be absolutely contrary to any type of hoax whatsoever. It'll look so real that no one is going to be able to say it's a hoax, even though it will be a hoax. It'll be a technological hoax. It'll be the kind of hoax that will look as real can be, yet still be a hoax.
Well,
I think I mentioned this to you before.
Jurassic Liars has suggested that the next one will be behind closed doors because he's going to be more protected, and all we're going to get is the footage, which they'll have all the ability in the world to manipulate. So if it's not a live magic trick, they'll have a lot more capability of producing something believable. And that may be it. Maybe you're right. Maybe we're being set up for something way more grotesque and believable and more impactful.
Think of the film The Prestige, right? These things are done on a stage. Whether it's a stage in a theater or a political stage, it's still a stage. And stages can have trap doors, right?
Yeah, that's another point too. That's a great point.
The Prestige showed us if you've got a doppelganger or more than one doppelganger, you can perform appearing miraculous feats. The line between magic and miracle is pretty fine, right?
Now, yeah, and that's a Christopher Nolan Nolan's the Nolan brothers.
Nolan. That's
anything
right.
Nolan, anything they do is preparing us for what's going to happen on the world stage. So get ready for the Oppenheimering of Seattle is what I think is going to happen.
Right. So now the last thing I want to say now in regards to the Captain America, the fact that they changed him now to be black. The same actor appeared in the film The Adjustment Bureau. Do you remember that movie, The Adjustment Bureau?
I haven't seen it, but what's that's a 2011 film. What's the main point behind it? Okay, it's a sci-fi thriller.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. It says here, the Adjustment Bureau is an organization that ensures people's lives proceed according to the plan created by the chairman. Okay.
Isn't that funny?
Our destiny being controlled by unseen forces. Fascinating.
Yeah, I thought you'd like that one.
I'll have to check it out. The Adjustment Bureau, Newsbenders, I like stuff like this.
So here's the last thing I want to leave you with. Here we go. Because they have made this impending event so obvious to us now, where it's an expectation at this point, like marketing 100%, we should be prepared for a wild card. We have to be prepared for a wild card. And I feel, who has been very silent in all this happening? Look, we heard Joe Biden say, violence has no place in America, which is a joke of jokes. There seems to be plenty of space in America and place for violence these days. Here's this guy saying violence has no place in America. But the fact is, we hear from him and others. Why has Obama been so silent lately?
Good question. Now, one thing here, Biden did say the bullseye thing. So he's talking as though he's not contributing to what they would call stochastic violence. But as far as Obama being quiet, this is an interesting point because if you look at the movie A Man in Full, the Obama character kills the Trump character, not directly, but causes it. If you look at the movie Leave the World Behind, an Obama production, it has JFK assassination references. And then you have, like, Obama's sort of a hidden character here, but he's showing up in movies. He's showing up in the predictive programming as being a player right now. So
Yes, symbolically. He's
yes,
appearing symbolically over and over again, right? But in the theater of the real, he is absolutely invisible and inaudible.
at the moment, and
At the moment, yeah.
at the moment. But
Even
yes,
even when they released that film, was he doing any tours? Was he on record as speaking much about the film?
not at all. I mean,
Not at all.
I didn't detect it, but then when I watched it, and I realized, okay, the House represents the White House. Julia Roberts is a white racist who's mad at that there's a black president. Like, you can
Yep.
tell that this was Obama's input here and there. You could tell what his messaging was, and it wasn't even subtle. In fact, the movie was not
That's
subtle.
right.
I called it
Yeah,
ham-fisted.
sure. You identified all the elements that have a signature, right? Absolutely.
Oh, it's so
So that's
ham-fisted.
why
There's
I'm
a
saying,
scene where Julia Roberts' character is posing in front of a painting, and the painting is abstract black with these white lines and stripes, kind of triangular on the top. And when she looks at the camera, she's literally standing in a Klan rally. That's what it looks like. That's how
not
unsubtle it is. You got to frame by
yeah.
frame that movie. It is not subtle. It's
Well,
good though. It's a great study. It's a case study in predictive programming.
yeah. Well, the whole black and white thing once again, right? When it's really infinite shades of gray. That the people have a hard time dealing with things that aren't in terms of black and white.
I call it the
Right? They
schism in everything, and
Yeah.
or the crack in everything. And what they've
Yeah.
done is they've implemented the theoretical model, the political horseshoe, as an actual model for basing our society's discourse. And everything is split down the middle. And when I say everything, capital E, everything. It's not an exaggeration. And this division is evidence of widespread mind control. And I've
Yes,
talked
but
about this a lot, but it's definitely there. There's a schism.
but that Film Adjustment Bureau told us where the line is actually drawn. Where is it drawn? The line is not drawn between people, between common people. The line is drawn between the elite, the people who are controlling the bureau, and those who aren't in the bureau. That's where the line's really drawn. And it's got nothing to do with people's appearances. It's not even necessarily socioeconomic, because there are quite a few of their agents that don't necessarily live luxurious lives and high-profile lives either, right? Some of them are quite mundane
Now, I
at all
haven't seen
levels.
it, but I want to ask you this, because if you agree with this, I've been saying recently that we can look at humanity largely as one group, the programmed, billions. Then you have a minority, maybe tens of thousands of programmers. So you got
Yep.
programmers, the programmed, and then we are the deprogrammed from our perspective. But if it's that simple, then yeah, what separates the program from the programmers? Well, that's the elite. The elite class take part in the programming of the masses. And that's why you see so many connections between celebrity, it's very incestual, or then you find children of people, like, for example, Pete Davidson. His dad died at 33 on 9/11, and now he's involved in predictive programming and
Oh,
in
I didn't
the.
know that one.
Oh, yeah, there are many examples. So you're like, wait, they come from a family of psyop operative insiders, and so it makes perfect sense. When and
This is the
Yep.
same Pete Davidson tied up with Kanye's ex-wife and all that. The same guy,
Yes, all of that. And so you have this.
SNL guy, right? Yeah.
Yes, SNL, 9/11 connections. These are just examples, though, of how all this stuff is a very it's evidence to me of centralized control, and you can see who are the metascript actors, and they're not all in the know. Like, we are more in the know than the people up most of the levels of the pyramid of lies.
Well, I'm glad you brought up SNL, and I'm glad you brought him up. And I'm going to explain why, because I've been telling this to people for a long time now. When it comes to comedy, any people, any group or individual that gets to define what is not off limits and what is off limits when it comes to what is funny, if you can dictate to a society what is funny and what isn't funny, you have got that society under your control.
Great
Comedy.
point. Great point. Excellent point there. And I often talk about how comedians are used in controlled opposition to gatekeep dangerous ideas. They float it out there, You can laugh
because
it
it's
off.
just an act. Because
and
it's just
an
for
act.
laughs.
Yep.
That's right.
And then
that's how they get away with it, man. Yep.
Then the programmers just need to look at their subscriber list and see, okay, who's figured it out? Who's connecting these dots? That's what limited hangout operatives do. They gather around as honeypots. So you might be looking at these comedians who delve into conspiracy theories as, oh, they're trying to reach the truth. No, they're honeypotting you. So you can be studied and controlled.
Yes, because that leads into the next point I was going to make, and here we go. Reading people's minds is not quite as difficult as people might think. And I'll tell you all that one needs to do. If you want to know what a person is likely to think or does think, all you got to do is know what media they consume.
Yeah, actually, it's that. Yes, and you can break people into, I just broadly, Normieville, Trutherville, or Woketown. Most people are in Normieville. If they get agitated and activated, they're going to go to Woketown or Trutherville, depending on if they lean left or right.
Well, they go to their comfort zone, right?
Yes, everyone, exactly. They go to where they're comfortable, and naturally, if you have a conscience and you're discerning, you're not going to be comfortable in Normieville. And you're either going to be influenced by Woketown or Trutherville, depending on whose voice is louder, who catches you emotionally, whether you go to a university or go into the workforce. Whatever the cultural influences are, they're going to drag you into the alternative universe where you're no longer a sleeping normie. You're activated, but you're not free of the programming.
Well, the question to ask any normie is this. When have things ever been not normal? Or what is normal to you? You know, you want to look at normal in the most scientific and precise way. And normal mathematically is a 90-degree angle, right? It's a perpendicular, right? That's a normal. Upright. You want to be a normal, you got to be upright. And you can't be upright when you're buying into lie upon lie.
It may be, yeah, it's a misnomer. Because the Normieville dwellers, even though it's Normieville, even though it's abnormal, because they believe in things that don't exist. They have God constructs like nukes, like climate change, space junk, planet killers, fake histories. So Normieville is anything but normal, but it's like the Truman Show. It's all fake. It's all misinformation, but it's the consensus trance, and they're apathetically accepting all these terrible conditions that they think they can do nothing about.
Given enough time, Tim, given enough time, people will find living in fear to be normal as well.
Oh yeah, if you're not scared, you're not paying attention. The scared, agitated have some kind of moral high ground they believe, but...
Well, there was a saying by a singer-songwriter named Bruce Cockburn, and in the song he says, the trouble with normal is it always gets worse. How's that one? It's a pretty good one. The trouble with normal is it always gets worse.
I like that.
And yeah, Bruce Cockburn, pretty good songwriter, activist as well. And that line hit me the first time I heard it. The trouble with normal is it always gets worse. It blew my mind the first time I heard it. Anyhow, be on the lookout for Obama's return. Just like all eyes are on Trump. And listen, the magic show, the very the bread and butter of any magic act is distraction, right? Look over here while the magician's got you looking at one place. The trick is done somewhere else. One hand distracts, the other one does the switch.
Misdirection, absolutely. This is a big magic show. The world stage is a magic show.
And that's why I'm saying that they're making Trump so obvious a target that we must be prepared for the wild card. What the Prestige call it. The pledge, the turn, and then the prestige. You show them something that's supposed to be ordinary, then you take it away, and then you miraculously bring it back.
I have to watch that. That's on my list of homework. I got to watch it.
You need to. Yeah, you know what? I'm surprised you haven't actually.
It's been on my list. I might just go watch it tonight. I've been watching this.
Well, that one, yeah,
show,
you should have that one. That one you should have at the top of your list actually. But even before Adjustment Bureau, in my opinion, you would certainly come away with a whole bunch of stuff after seeing it. It's definitely worth your time if you're going to watch anything.
It's on my list because I have to watch it simply because it pertains to this Trump event. And it's a Nolan film, so it's on my list. I might even watch it tonight. I've been watching this other show, but I might just tune into this instead. So again,
okay, now last question for you.
Sure. And I have a question for you after. So go ahead, you go first.
Oh, please, no, you ask first. Go ahead, you go first.
Someone in the chat asked, I think it was 737. They want to know how you found this channel and how long you've been listening.
I found this channel through Garo. I was listening. I've been listening to Garl for the past 15 years, actually.
Okay,
He was
okay,
in his-
cool.
During his Kingman Sundays, and then over only a few months back, watching one of his shows that you came up. So then I checked. I decided to listen to what you're about. So now the question I have for you is, what level of awareness do you have about the impending technological society, the technocracy that's being, well, it's almost already complete. It has to be finalized. The idea of the new human, the transhuman, the species of man merged with technology in the cashless system, the social credit system, the 24/7 biosurveillance under the skin thing. Are you aware of that agenda?
Yeah, I think that's the progressive left utopian future. And the MAGA is a reaction against it. Make America Great Again is all about a utopian past or an
Yeah,
idealized
but
past.
I
But
wouldn't look at it as a left and right, or I wouldn't look at it dualistically. This is a singular agenda that's going to be played out both sides of the aisle.
well, they're going to sell it to us because 1984 was like, oh, in the future you'll have no privacy. There's a camera everywhere. Everyone's going to be conformed, and you can't escape Big Brother. And what did they do? They sold it to us through the free market. They sold us on selling our privacy, commodifying all of our privacy, putting our thoughts on the internet. We are voluntarily allowing ourselves to be not only surveilled but broadcast. So forget just spying on us. We're all broadcasters on
Well,
some level.
it's a fait accompli with the monolith in the palm.
Yeah, so people are waiting. They're going to get the augmentations, they're going to get the brain chips. They're going to buy into transhumanism because it's a new religion. It's part of Scientology. It's part of
It is a religion.
scientism and nasatology. It is part of the new faith, the new religion that's going to bind the world. And I think they're going to sell it. They're not going to impose it.
Oh, that's the best way to implement it. People say it was your choice. You're free. It's your choice, right? But that's disingenuous when you know the alternative is inability to survive or excommunication from civilization, right?
Yep. Yeah, so
So you're free to choose. You're free to choose. Of course, you're free to choose, right? But it's the rock and the hard place, right?
everything they want to do to us as a collective, they don't have the power to because they're a minority. They give it. They condition us to do it voluntarily, and they've been successful time and time again.
Well, they've
I don't
done
see
it for
them
a
failing.
long time. Indeed, fact. But here's one thing we all got to remember: each one of us, myself, you, everyone, all your listeners, each of us is going to have to meet up eventually with our fates. We are all doomed, or if not, if you only use the word doomed, we are appointed to death. No one gets out of here alive.
No one gets out of here alive. Yep, that's the name of a biography of Jim Morrison.
Incorrect. That's exactly what it was titled. That's right. No one gets out of here alive.
27
And
Clubber.
that's a fact. Yeah,
And-
that's a fact, right? I mean, whether we like that or not, it doesn't matter. It's one of those facts that people. Hey, when we're children, the first time we see grandma or grandpa lying in a coffin, we say, "What do we tell the children? What do we tell them? What is grandma and grandpa doing?" We tell them they're sleeping, don't we?
Well, if Jim Morrison actually died and didn't come back and do Rush Limbaugh for 33 years, but who knows? Anyway, hey, thank you for the call. Call back
All right, Tim,
anytime.
take care.
Thank you.
Ciao.
All right. And shout out to Jurassic Liars for bringing us that caller. It's great to do group calls and interviews and panels with other channels. Having Garrow call in is great because we can cross-pollinate ideas and enlarge the think tank and the number of ideas that we're able to assess and aggregate here. This is a quote from Frank Herbert. There's a couple because the caller mentioned fear. I will not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Many of you are familiar with that one. But there's another one by Frank Herbert. They're trained to believe, not to know. Belief can be manipulated. Only knowledge is dangerous. See, we are knowers because we are seekers. Truthers are believers. Normies are believers. Woketown, believers. There's a qualitative difference, a fundamental difference between believers and knowers. And believers are getting their information secondhand and trusting it on faith. We are answering questions. We're seeking to know, and we're becoming informed about that which we do not believe. We're eradicating mere belief as a poor substitute for knowledge in the age of information. We shouldn't all be clueless, wandering around in the dark. But it's by design. This is the main weapon: the darkness, the ignorance, the secrecy. It's all used to disempower the multitudes so they can be controlled by the small minority. The programmers control the programmed because the programmers know what's real, they know what's true, they know objective reality. The programmed are all put into a subjective reality, filtered through lies. We, the deprogrammed, have stepped outside of this, which makes what we do dangerous to the world stage infrastructure. The more convincing we are, the more we spread our memes, and the more they catch on, the more damage we do to the lie world order's infrastructure. And one of my objectives, and I'm not even, let me get this call, is to do billions and billions of dollars of damage.
And I'm not even.
Hey, what's up, caller? Go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, hey, what's up? Go ahead and mute your speaker
Hey,
there.
dude, sorry about. Yeah. This is a different phone thing. That's why wasn't expecting it, dude.
Yeah, my main phone system's been down for ever since Trump got it. My phone system, Blog Talk Radio, has been down.
I think they banned you, dude.
I think so too. Covertly, I've been shadow banned, but
Yeah. Anyway, you have any questions for me? Because I'm only calling for one little thing because my throat's hurting because of all the talking I've been doing. So that's why I didn't really call in earlier. But go ahead. You have anything for me?
Actually, go and fill us in, because a lot of people are saying Iran is threatening Trump, and they just put him under increased protection. And then you have all these celebrities saying, "Don't miss next time." And you've been saying that this might have been the setup for the big one. Do you stand by that? Is that still what you see as likely?
Oh, absolutely, dude. August 4th, he should get it. And like I said, if it doesn't happen this year, it happens next year on August 4th. There's no in between. It has to happen on August 4th, the big one. Anyway, but I still think it's going to be this year. You know, I would put all my money on it for this year if I was a betting man. But here's what's really crazy is that now not only are people on the Trump head wound bandwagon, they're literally saying he's going to get a second one. There are like all these channels all of a sudden are popping up out of nowhere saying that he's going to get a second head wound. I mean, it's unreal. Like channels that weren't even talking about it are even copying it now.
I find it weird when people say that they came up with it and they don't explain how they arrived at it. We've arrived at it from our predictive programming analysis, cross paths with you, and I understand how you arrived at it. But then there's some channels I won't name who are just like, my listeners know 3 weeks ago I predicted this. It's like, even if you said it in isolation, you didn't predict it if you didn't substantiate it with some kind of reasoning here. So I find it really strange.
Yeah. I'll give you, before we get into what I was calling about, there's this one clown. He says he's been talking about Trump's head wound for 5 years, right? So his way of getting out of it, he says, is because his channel got taken down, which that happened to me too. So I can understand if that was the case with him. But he's had his new channel. He's had it for 2 years, and I told him, find me a video from within your 2-year period, like starting from your 2 years, work your way back a few months from that 2-year period that you started your new video. Show me where you did a Trump head wound video. And of course, he doesn't have one, but yet he's telling every single one of his viewers that he's been talking about it for 5 years. He's been only talking about it for the last 6 months is because the mass media is talking about it, you know? But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I see it too. It's noise. And I think they're absolutely introducing a lot of, quote, false prophets, disinformation, noise agents. And the reason why is they don't want people who get the truth to see the big picture. I think they want to diffuse it and dilute it. And I find it very suspect. A lot of these characters are very suspect to me.
Yeah, and well, the reason I called, just to let you know, well, first of all, we see that he picked Vance, the Ohio guy, right?
Yeah, who originally named what? His name was Donald Bowman?
Yeah.
What do you make of
Donald
that?
Bowman. Yeah, I mentioned that like a month ago, that his real name. And, well, yeah, that's why, I mean, you know what? I can't tell you what the name so much means, you know? there is some connections to what's biblically some, with the bow, because he comes conquering with a bow, So it is said that there is going to be a third person to this puzzle, because I'm telling you that Elvis is the top dog and Trump is the Antichrist in the flesh, and there's going to be like a third person involved in this who kind of brings out makes everyone worship that beast, So we'll see how it all plays out. But what I was calling about was, oh man, could you hold on 1 second, dude? Just go ahead and talk for a second.
Okay,
hold on.
Okay, I want to bring something up because this was mentioned by Synchromorpheus. There's an image of Trump on the ground, the very dramatic shot of him, and it looks like a sweaty Elvis on the ground. When Elvis would get really close to the ground. Let me see, Elvis. I'll put Elvis
are
kneeling.
You there? Are
yes.
you there?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're exactly right. I was thinking that exact same thing, man, when you said that.
Yeah, you know how he has his collar up, he's sweating dramatically. You can find so many examples of Elvis. It's an iconic thing with him. And then you look at Trump here, where he's on the ground, and he's got his collar pop. It's not a collar, it's a towel, but it looks like it. So he looks very Elvis-y here.
Absolutely.
Synchromorpheus put that together, and when they make alignments like that, it's intentional. Like they aligned him and the Secret Service like that Marine memorial where they're raising the flag, or he raises his fist and it's just like Braveheart. These are images that are seared into our collective psyche. So when he's down on the ground like that, it looks like Elvis. I got to find the exact matchup. A number of people have found these images, but yeah, that's an iconic Elvis pose.
Yeah, I actually saw that. I was thinking exactly that, man. I was like, wow, that's like a perfect pose, man. They got him on, It's fake as fake can be, dude. They must have done that before. There's no way that was at that moment.
Now, what do you think about how when Trump raises his face up, he's got two blood streaks and it looks like a serpent's tongue coming out of his mouth? Have you looked at that?
You know what? I wouldn't have caught that, but other people did on my channel. It was a good catch. Yeah, it does look like it actually. Now that I think of it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm inclined to think that there's no accidents in the production of this event. Yeah, and here he is. It looks like he's got. And then one other thing, the photographer who photographed the bullet whizzing by Trump is the same guy who photographed someone with the Secret Service whispering in Bush's ear on 9/11. So now you have a 9/11 connection to this event and the ear connection. He's whispering 9/11 into the ear as the bullet whizzes by his ear with the 9/11 on his hat. I mean, it's perfect.
That's an incredible catch, because there's no possible way that could be a coincidence, man.
No way.
Yeah,
and we compared it to Richard Drew, who shot the image of the falling man on 9/11 and RFK falling to his death. So another photographer attached to 9/11 and an assassination attempt or an assassination.
Yeah,
Same thing here.
Yeah.
These are incredible connections.
Well, like we said, everybody at that place, the people behind, in front, like at the very near the front, are all in on it. There's no doubt,
Not at all.
Yeah. But anyway, the reason I called, let me just say what happened today. I don't know if you heard. So at the Republican National Convention today, okay, and remember, it's in Milwaukee, right?
Yeah.
And Milwaukee's the home of the Bucks, right? Where the stupid.
Okay, hopefully we didn't lose him. Give him just a second. Let it catch back up. Seems like the call's kind of roboting out. Okay, go again. The Bucks, Milwaukee Bucks.
Okay, yeah. So Milwaukee's the Bucks, right? The team where the Milwaukee Bucks. Anyway, so Ohio is the Buckeye state where I'm telling you Trump's going to get his head wound, right? And today at the the Republican National Convention, Ohio police was in front of they shot somebody in front of the Republican National Convention, right outside. Ohio police, because I guess they were called to help with protection of the convention.
Ohio police kill man near RNC. So they specify Ohio officers. Fascinating.
Yeah, and it was in King Park, which the connection to Elvis, the King. So it's in King Park, and it's Columbus, Ohio police. And Columbus is the 614 area code, Trump's birthday, 614.
King Park, even that. Okay, that's fascinating. Great finds. Great finds. And did this guy have an AK-47 or was that a different person?
Oh, I don't know. No, that's no. From what I think it was just a homeless fight or something like that. Was there
Okay.
another one?
Yeah, it says masked man with AK-47 arrested near Trump's party event. This was an hour ago or 3 hours ago.
Oh, wow. No, I didn't hear about that one.
Just the 47. But anyway, the Ohio thing. And J.D. Vance is from Ohio, by the way.
Right, right. That's why I was saying, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I
well,
already did a couple of videos.
and one more
Go ahead.
thing. Yeah, Iran is now apparently being mentioned as having threatened Trump. So yeah,
Well,
and you
don't
mentioned
forget to show that video. Go ahead.
yeah about the Iran. There was some video with like I think it had to do with like Trump on a golf course.
Right, that's what I was just about to tell you. Don't forget to show that to your viewers. The Trump golf course, where they're saying they're going to get Trump. They put it out there. Supposedly Iran. Yeah, right.
It's called the Iran's mock video of a drone strike on Trump, and it's revenge for the killing of Soleimani.
And
So
by the way, years ago, that's what I was telling people, that I saw predictive programming with Trump getting a drone strike on him, because the Venezuelan president, the very first time that I was predicting that Trump would get a head wound was before 2018, August 4th. On August 4th, 2018, the Venezuelan president, there was an attempted assassination on him, and it was with drones.
awesome. Okay, I see. I see. So this has been inserted as a story already, and here it is: animated video of Trump being targeted by a drone on a golf course. That's brazen, but this is in the news again.
Yeah, so we definitely got to watch for that. That's the only way they're going to get to him. That I don't see a lone gunman getting it. It has to be some kind of drone. Missile drone. I don't understand. Some kind of rocket launcher. I have no idea. What they're going to pull.
Right. Well, Alex Jones is out there saying they're going to crash a drone or a plane into Mar-a-Lago. All kinds of stuff's being thrown out there, and the public's going to believe whatever. But anyway, great info, and if this one event was it, we wouldn't be seeing all these other calls for not missing next time, Iran, and stepping it up. So there's definitely indications here of escalation. And
yeah, and man,
yeah.
you should have saw how they were propping him up, man. Like this dude was the most important person in the world, man. I mean, did you see that Tim Scott, what he was saying about Trump?
No.
Something about a roaring lion. And
Oh yes, yes, yes.
yeah.
They're basically saying he was saved by God, and they're connecting the timestamp 611 to Ephesians and the armor of God, which has been a mainstay of right-wing Bible verses. And 611 is a big code number in Sound of Freedom. So yeah, they have basically manufactured a miracle, and a lot of people are believing it.
Yeah, and just can you? Look, first of all, it's impossible for this event to happen at 6:11. You know what I mean? The time, the chance of that is impossible too. When you consider what I'm predicting on 6:11.
Oh yeah, so many of the things that you've brought up showed up in this event. The 611 timestamp, BP, Butler, Pennsylvania, 216. These are all reflecting the body of symbols and codes that have been connected to it. So the 611 thing, I'm like, this is being even noted by big channels. And then Steve Bannon's in jail, and he's like, Trump was protected by the armor of God. Well, the armor of God, again, that's the 611 verse. And,
right.
So it's like they're manufacturing the appearance of a miracle.
All right, man. Well, I'll let you go. I know you're busy, man. But I'll call back again, brother. Oh, the most important thing I forgot. There's a person who came to my channel, and she's supposedly a White House correspondent, wants to do an interview with me.
Wow. Interest,
What
do
in
it.
the hell?
I don't know what that is, but I think you should definitely do it.
You
Whatever
want
that
me to
is.
give you can I just tell you the channel name? That way you can check it out to see who this person is.
Yeah, please.
The person, and listen to the name, Dr. June. What kind
Dr.
of troll is? I
June.
mean, yeah, check that one. Let me see.
I found
There's
him.
another.
Dr. June is a White House correspondent who worked with Trump from 2018 to 2020. Okay.
Is this insanity or what? No, I'm talking about the channel. Find the channel. She got a YouTube channel.
I'm looking for it now.
Yeah,
Okay.
something Dr. June. I forget what the first part is. What's the first part? Something Dr. June. Oh man, what was the first part? Oh, News with Dr. June. News with Dr. June.
Okay. News with Dr. June on YouTube. And how did they contact you?
But on the live stream, she just popped up. She goes, "I want to interview you," and I was like, "What?"
That is really
have-
strange. That is really strange.
Yeah, super strange, bro. That is super strange. And the person's name is June.
Yeah, that makes it even weirder, to be honest. That makes it very kind of weird, that in itself. And then reaching out to you, I don't know what to make of that, but I'm curious.
But they've got a channel for how long have they've had it since 2009, so it seems legit.
Yeah, I'm perusing it right now, and they have been around for a little while here. 48 videos. There's a website, newswithdrjune.com. If this is the same one.
Oh, there it is. There's the time. She put it up already. Meet a man who sees another assassination to President Trump. You see that?
Oh, okay. Yeah,
That's me.
I think you should
That's
do
me.
it. I think you should definitely talk to this person.
We already made an appointment. That's the appointment. It's 11 o'clock on 7/19. That's Friday at 11 a.m. California time.
Okay, cool. So everyone, keep in mind, Friday the 19th, JL will be with Dr. June. Cool. I look forward to seeing it, and we'll be keeping up with you on that for sure.
That is some strange stuff. Yeah, man. You better pray for me on this one, because, man, when you got White House correspondents coming after you, something's not right here.
Yes.
Anyway,
This could be phishing. There could be somebody listening on. I mean, who knows where this is going?
Somebody contacted her. It's got to be.
Yeah.
Somebody from the Trump, because they know it's coming, dude.
Someone here says pass.
Anyway.
Someone else says good luck. Awesome. Well, thanks for the call, and we'll
All
talk
right,
soon.
bro.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
That is a strange development. Just to have somebody connected to the White House correspondence, someone who's been in the Trump White House. In fact, Marcus Goldfinch is in the White House Correspondents Association, and he was traveling with Trump from 2017 to 2021. By the way, Goldfinch has a new alias. Might as well spoil it for him. Mark Atkins, like the diet. Mark Atkins, new alias. How did I figure it out? Phishing. And this is a simple technique. I have a whole manual on counter stalking, if anyone wants to know. But basically, you set up, I wouldn't recommend this, but this is what I did. You set up a clone of that person, you mirror their videos, and then you promote it so they notice it. And then they take it down with copyrights. But when they do, YouTube forwards to you their email address and contact information that they make available. At a minimum, you get the email address. So having set up this clone account, I captured his new email address and I got his new name. Changed his name. Goldfinch has been ruined. Probably has something to do with us. He should have stayed away. He should have backed off of the IPS years ago. Elephant Tusk says, sounds like the Swedish documentary crews. Well, that TV show, that Swedish documentary, they did come down here, and I thought maybe they were doing reconnaissance, spying on me, getting in my head so they can profile me. But they did indeed release it. It's out in Sweden. It's some TV show. It's behind a paywall. I haven't even bothered to watch it yet. I probably should. I've just been so busy. And then I'm setting up this mass ISS observation experiment, and we're working on that. And then Trump has to do this thing, which also sets us back. But I'll get to it. It doesn't mean it wasn't recon. I mean, they did do a documentary, but it doesn't mean that it wasn't an excuse to gain info. Rasal Haig 888 says, alarm, Dr. June is associated with Pastor Dennis Ware. Okay, interesting. We'll see. Okay, let's get back to the notes here. Here's the Iran mock video of a drone strike on Trump. I'm just going to play a short clip. President vows to take revenge against Trump over Soleimani's killing. And you have the drone video simulation. Very ominous. Well, anyway, they're back in the news. Okay, let me go through my notes. We're looking at the aftermath of the fake event, additional predictive programming, a lot more that I haven't really even scratched the surface. This is an interesting article. It's from Times of India. Long before Trump, a man shot at Reagan to win Jodie Foster's heart. So we've been talking about the significance of Robert De Niro showing up at the Trump courthouse. And I mentioned how this brings up Joker, where he gets killed, shot in the head. It brings up Taxi Driver, which Joker was inspired by, templated off of. And in Taxi Driver, De Niro's the assassin. So we make these connections. Then we find De Niro in Machete playing a Trump-like character getting shot at during an anti-immigrant speech. Just like what happened. Well, this article about John Hinckley, who was inspired by Taxi Driver to shoot Reagan, has Robert De Niro holding a pistol as the main photo. I'm like, that's an interesting non-coincidence. Infinite Plane Radio.
Greetings. This is Lickety Split. How you doing?
Awesome. Last call of the night. We got about 8 minutes here before I have to catch my Uber gig. But what's on your mind, Lickety?
Real quick, just the predictive programming thing. It's either I got the wrong definition of what it is, or everyone else does. Kind of seems like this term's getting used kind of loosely. I'll give a quick example. When Lahaina happened, there were people that were pointing out a movie about Val Kilmer, and that movie had to do with direct energy weapons. And people were like, hey, this is predictive programming. Lahaina got dude. And I was like, no, that's not how it works. That's not predictive programming.
In a vague way, though. In a vague way, all media is predictive if it reinforces, but that's vague. That's not specific.
But then that's why I'm wondering, like, if there's another word that we should be using. And I think you've mentioned a few other words to describe this in terms, because I was thinking it's more of like a direct, exact thing, like the 9/11, what was it, like a show where they had like legit, like literal planes flying into the buildings. And you're like, okay, this, I guess, is what predictive programming is. But then, like, when it's, like multiple things, a cultural thing, it's like predictive culture. I don't know what you want to call it. But, yeah, it just seems like this is a little off to me.
Yeah, well, we're the ones who've been fine-tuning it recently. And we've introduced concurrent programming, which is the real-time alignment between the entertainment and the news. We've had to fine-tune it because, yeah, this whole field of predictive programming has always been used by the controlled opposition to add confusion. Like they say, predictive programming is done by AI. It's done by demons or AI demiurges. And it's like, no, we figured it out here. And you're right about that. We probably should work on additional levels of like cultural engineering or narrative introduction. Like we should probably fine-tune it.
Do we know who was first ever using this term, predictive programming? I need to go look into that. I don't actually know, but because it's, it also kind of rung a bell. It kind of sounded like the other day I was reading more about this, like divination, and it almost sounded similar to like divination, but using, all the chaos that is the news and the media, and there's so much of it, and there's little things here and there that you can pick up on and, determine something from that, I suppose, is how it works. I'm still
Well,
new to that topic.
that's
but
what I've been suggesting. I've been saying for a little while now that if it's all predictive, if it's all leading to real world events, then you can certainly use predictive programming as a predictive model for what's to come. And that's how we were able to
Right.
say space junk's on the way. This is like things that they are planting seeds. So it's all in
Right,
that way.
right.
But
Trends and
yep.
whatnot. Okay, and then one last thing. Is this a new one? Have you heard about Mandela effect with Tinkerbell? Kind of off topic, but I just heard this literally like 30 minutes ago, and I went to the gas station. The gas station clerk brought it up to me. I'm like, what the hell?
What
But he was
happened?
saying
No.
Tinkerbell dotting the I on a Disney or something like that. Have you heard that one?
Now, I haven't heard this one. What is the Mandela effect?
I think they're saying that now there's that people you can't find Tinkerbell dotting the I whenever the Disney logo comes up, like before a movie or something like that. And like this guy I thought was kind of a smart dude, but I guess not. So anyway, yeah,
Hey,
throw that one out there.
do you remember Richard Simmons having a headband when you were dancing to the oldies?
Well, I can't say I do, but I could see how that could easily be imprinted on somebody through, suggestive thinking.
That's
I
a big
mean,
one. That's a big one. But
yeah, exactly. Anyway, all right, I'll let you go catch your Uber or whatever.
okay, thanks for the call, and
All right, take it easy.
we'll dig into that subject. Yeah, we need to fine tune our definitions 100%. We definitely need to recognize that you've got predictive programming, concurrent programming, but what is predictive programming? It's not eerie coincidences. It's not synchromysticism. It is a form of propaganda and marketing that shows that there is a unified whole when you look at entertainment media, news media, and the political psyop dramas. King TL says, Tim, you wild, haha. Sincerely, says Mandela effect is real. The Mandela effect is real. It really is. But it's not reality shifting. It's gaslighting, introducing false memories. And then the people with the false memories gathering together and forming a club. Like, oh, we got the wrong answers, and there are more of us F students than A students, so let's take over. Anybody who got the right answer is now wrong, and we're right. It's a lot of people who can't admit that they're wrong, or that their memory's not perfect, or that they're misconstruing prompted imaginings as memories. Vanden says the film was originally titled Captain America New World Order, but they changed it to Captain America Brave New World after a backlash. Well, I was just looking at the RNC, and they had the all-seeing eye, Illuminati pyramid, New World Order in the background. So that was pretty blatant. We'll probably look at that a little more detail tomorrow, but I want to catch up on my notes here. David Polk says the De Niro speech is spot on. Yeah, between the Robert De Niro speech in Machete and the clipped ear from The Atlantic, we have two of the best examples of predictive programming that we've ever seen. The Captain America movie is Trump being shot at, but it's Trump as Harrison Ford. Someone else has noticed this scripted psyop. New Captain America movie trailer released yesterday. The main part of the plot, assassination attempt on the president played by Harrison Ford. And what we added to it, Harrison Ford, born 7/13, the day of the attempt. Julius Caesar's birthday. Julius Caesar's a play in which they killed Trump in 2016. Harrison Ford, and this is in a theater, Ford Theater, Lincoln reference. Very interesting. A lot of people are picking up on the scripted nature of it. I'm looking through my notes here. Oh, this is another big one. A movie came out that day. A movie came out. If you weren't, here we go. If you weren't watching the Trump thing, if you were just watching the movies, maybe you saw Thine Ears Shall Bleed. And it's a big, ugly movie poster, and it looks like Trump's ear. Like, what is this? Thine ears shall bleed. released a couple days prior to Donald Trump dumping ketchup on his face. But on the ear, look at that. And that is an ugly poster. I would not watch this movie. It's like a wound on someone's ear. But this coming out at that time. So predictive programming is all about planting memes, inserting memes, painting up the zeitgeist. Okay, let's see what else we have. I got so many more things to talk about, but we're a little low on time. I want to end with this. Dave J. Now, Dave J., many of you know, Dave J is Dave J. But, he's half man, half troll. And as long as you don't feed the troll half, you can work with him. And he recently posted this. This is a song AI generated called Fake Shot in the Ear. Have a great evening, everyone.
Drama queen, nobody cried, nobody took a fall. Just another dance in the old hall. Life keeps spinning round and round. Fake shot echoes with no sound. Nobody died, nobody got hurt. Just another line in the big concert. Crowds watching close, ready for a show. President T-Rump said a big hello. Nobody ran, nobody felt the fear. Just another note in the music here. Confusion in the air, just a common flare. Nothing to declare. Nobody died, nobody got hurt. Life keeps spinning round and round. Fake shot echoes with no sound. Nobody died, nobody got hurt. Just another line in the big concert. Confusion in the air, just a common flare, nothing to declare. Nobody died, nobody got hurt. Life keeps spinning round and round. Fake shot echoes with no sound. Nobody died, nobody got hurt. Just another line in